Welcome to the 10th day, the last day of the last Great Conflict series, Worship Time, presented by 144,000 teachers, a school preparing intelligent, educated survivors. As we continue in day 10, to open up the key, this time the key number 9, we have much discovery to make.
Babylon is falling. Calendar counterfeit unmasked. He who rules over the calendar rules over the nations. Key number 9. Key number 9 was researched and produced by 144,000teachers.org. For seminars, conferences, and enrollment, please contact us at 144,000teachers@gmail.com. For further studies, visit our website at 144,000teachers.org. Babylon is falling, AD 325 and the Nicene Decree. From the time of the Nicene Decree until the present day, it has been passed on from generation to generation that the Jewish Passover was at the first full moon after the equinox of spring. The tables of the modern Jewish calendar follow this plan. In Christ's days, many historians, both ancient and modern, have taken it for granted that the Jews had always kept their Passover at this time, and that such was therefore the case in the days of Christ. The Kyraites' opposition. The Kyraites, who closely adhered to the Sadducean literature and represent a pre-rabbinical view of the Mosaic Law, apparently have been the chief opponents to this ruling. Their prolonged polemic with the Rabbinites in the 8th and 9th centuries is an evidence that such a regulation of the Jewish Passover was not the original precept of Moses. This far-reaching influence of the Karaite teaching made itself felt upon the Advent movement in 1844.
New Light in the Mazzaroth, we're looking now at volume 3. The heavens declare the glory of God. New Light in the Mazzaroth. A woman, a crown of 12 stars, a dragon. Mazzaroth in Hebrew means in English a garland of stars or a crown of stars. Revelation chapter 12, verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars, or a garland of 12 stars. Psalms chapter 147, verse 4. He telleth the number of the stars. He giveth them all their names. Volume 3 of the Mazzaroth, we have discovered that there was 3 books in the Mazzaroth. Book number 1, number 2, and number 3. In the sanctuary, we have the court, the holy place, and the most holy place. Looking now at Standing on Trial, biblical calendar, and this is a very important study. Biblical calendar on trial. What is the primary purpose of calendation? Although calendars have been used throughout history for economic, agricultural, social, or political reasons, the main purpose for creating calendars was and still is today for religious reasons, to worship God or gods at appointed times. The calendar you use represents the god or gods you serve, whether you like it or not. This is why there are so many calendars throughout history and in the world today. This is why there are many so-called biblical calendars among those who believe in the Torah and the Bible. Remember, he who rules over the calendar rules over the nation. Looking now at the last decree for this series, the 21st decree onto 1,335 days, part 2. The 21st decree onto 1,335 days. We have chosen this page in particular to attract your attention to a very important point. The mystery Babylon, 10th key. We need to know more about this. And let's look now at another particular page where we have here again some spiritualism along with another very powerful page. If you want peace, prepare for war. We read in the book of Daniel, chapter 11, verse 38, but in his estate shall he honor the God of forces, and a God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver and with precious stones and pleasant things. This is a link from the 22nd of July 2020. It's time to equip the United States Space Force with the ability to project force. Remember, the God of force. Another article here taken from BBC, and this one actually was written at the same time as we prepared this research on the decree. This was written in February 2021. If you want peace, prepare for war. Russia is ready to serve ties with the European Union, EU, if the bloc imposes new economically painful sanctions because of the Navalny affair. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says. When an interviewer asked if Russia was heading for a break with the European Union, Mr. Lavrov said, "We are ready for that. If you want peace, prepare for war," he said. Notice that this was in 2021. In 2022 now, Russia has declared war with Ukraine. And all these sanctions have been added onto them, and they're still going forward. Is there a message in there for us today having to do with the God of forces? The future will tell. May the Lord help us. As we look now again at the biblical calendar movement, encouraging you to pass this link to as many people as possible, the biblical calendar movement 2020-2030, the biblical calendar restoration movement, the unimpeachable calendar. 144000teachers.org and the library, which contains many information beside the biblical calendar from 2020 to 2030. The Lord designs that our opinions shall be put to the test, that we may see the necessity of closely examining the living oracles to see whether or not we are in the faith. Many who claim to believe the truth have settled down at their ease, saying, "I'm rich and increased with goods, and have need of nothing." In our previous visit of the page in the menu 1844, we have introduced you to new light, which is actually old light, that light was hidden away for years at least, or decades from us. And it had to do with October 22nd, 1844, which was visited in 1939. This one is called October 22nd, 1844, Restored. And as we took you to this page, we also introduced you to the manuscripts, including the letter of conveyance and the 6-part series of the report that was prepared for the church by a committee of scholars and was never revealed to anyone. It was put in archives and it remained there to a few years ago. Now, for the first time, we are opening that treasure for you to see for yourself, see if these things are valid. We have been showing evidences, and now we are showing you the last part of those evidences. These evidences are here for you to read, to peruse, to study, and see if these things are so. We are indeed entering William Miller's dream that he had and was interpreted. And now we have a new interpretation as far as the small trunk and the larger trunk. The small trunk, we believe, was the 1844 movement, or the new light regarding the biblical calendar, the Day of Atonement, 1844, the 22nd of October. But now we believe we have reached that great, great trunk that has added so much more, and it's 10 times brighter. Again, those who cling to old customs and hoary errors have lost sight of the fact that light is ever increasing upon the path of all who follow Christ. Truth is constantly unfolding to the people of God. We must be continually advancing if we are following our leader. It is when we walk in the light that shines upon us, obeying the truth that is open to our understanding, that we receive greater light. We cannot be excusable in accepting only the light which our fathers had 100 years ago. If our God-fearing fathers had seen what we see and heard what we hear, they would have accepted the light and walked in it. If we desire to imitate their faithfulness, we must receive the truth open to us as they receive those presented to them. We must do as they would have done had they lived in our day. And in closing this series, we'd like to address a very important point. Earlier in one of the days that we have had a study about this, it was mentioned that this magnificent series here, that magnificent collection, was actually set up from the research of the committee that was established in 1939. The date of that committee was approximately May or April-May of 1939. This is about the time of the calendar, the biblical calendar. It's in the spring feast era, the spring feast going from Passover all the way to Pentecost. And here again, in 1939, in September of 1939, a very, very important event occurred. Starting in September 1939 was World War II. At this time of presenting this collection, it's April 2022, and we're doing it right now on purpose during the feast. This is the spring feast in 2022. Our prayer is that the Lord at this time hold on the wind of strifes a little bit longer as we see unfolding the war in the Ukraine, specifically for the people of this world to receive this wonderful, wonderful truth of the biblical calendar, the lunisolar barley harvest calendar, and have time to peruse these things and make a choice. Make the choice that we have read at the beginning of this session. Serve thee this day whom he shall serve. Choose thee this day whom he shall serve. Choose thee this day whom he shall worship. And this is our choice that is given to all of us before it is forever too late on this planet Earth and forever in the most holy place when it closed down with all the book of records having been inspected and Jesus standing up, having finished his work as part of the plan of redemption. May the Lord bless you and be merciful unto you and give you peace.